That's Dr. Manhattan right there. This card had to be changed. This card was too good. Boom.
For someone who's never played Marvel Snap before, CGB did pretty damn good rating Snap cards. Debuting with a 5-2 record. Today, we're gonna have him rate Marvel Snap villains. The big bads of Snap. While definitely outnumbered by the good guys within the card pool, Marvel Snap villains have some of the craziest effects within the game. Some of them are clearly broken, while others aren't nearly as good as they initially seem to be. The cards shown today fall within 4 different tiers. NPC, where terrible cards with negative win rates go. Gluten-free bread. In a vacuum, these cards are decent, but in reality, they are heavily outshined by others in the meta. Smartphone, meta-defining technology, meta-defining tier. Good relevant cards go here. I will also be adding 2 mystery cards which are old versions of themselves that were nerfed due to how downright broken they were. These will fall under the Dr. Manhattan tier. Will our guest be able to spot them? I read all your feedback regarding the first video, and this time around I've designed a more considerate lineup taking into account CGB's lack of Snap knowledge. The order of our lineup today is designed to provide our guest with clues that can be useful to properly evaluate cards that come after. Will CGB's MTG knowledge allow him to prevail yet again, or will he fail miserably? Let's find out. Oh snap, he's back. Hello there, CGB.
Yeah.
Long time no see.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, I'm more confident about, you know, this lineup that I got. I did get ripped apart in the comments for Dakin, like we were expecting. You know, leading off with that card was a little bit sus, but regardless of all that, you performed really well in your first attempt at Marvel Snap rating, as you also got Kang, which I was very surprised by, and you ended up with a 5-2 record. Let's see how you do today, though, because I'm bringing in the heat. Just because, you know, I'm making my lineup more coherent, I'm not taking away the challenge from it by any means. Just letting you know.
Okay.
And I may as well let you know about the theme for today. You know, because we're gonna be doing these on themes, and today we're gonna be focusing on Marvel villains.
Villains.
How do you feel about that?
Ooh, I love villains. I have some favorite
like
villains.
too.
I always gravitate to the villains. Everybody can probably tell.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that, actually.
Yep.
That information. You know, thank you for sharing. As I just want to jump into it, man, because I'm excited about the first one, as we're going to be going in with a big bad right off the bat. Here we go. Round 1. Galactus. Galactus is a 6 energy, 3 power card with a text that says, on reveal, if this is your only card here, destroy all other locations. Any questions you got? Anything? Just throw them at me. Take your time, you know. Think about it.
Yeah. 6 to cast, 3 is power. Yeah?
Yes.
Or health.
Exactly.
Attack.
So the number on the top left is the energy cost, or mana cost, as you like to call it, and the stat on the right is the power. Yes.
Yeah, don't mind me. Just forgot everything from last time. No big deal. Okay, we're in a great position already. My
I like
goodness.
it. I like this position.
Oh no. I'm already head spinning.
I'm not holding back. Like I like to start off strong.
Okay, I mean, Galactus needs to be good, or like Marvel fans will lose it. So that's going to be part of the, conflict for me through this whole thing. Is I need my epic villains to be epic. So I immediately want to give these high ratings. Do we want to revisit the ratings?
I did mention them in the intro, but
okay.
Do you want me to revise them for you? Just to clarify them real quick.
Hold on.
Because sometimes like the description can be a little bit interpreted, and some people have called them unintuitive. I don't think they're unintuitive. I think they're pretty okay, and I'm not biased here at all. But basically, we got NPC. So NPC, essentially what it means is that it's a card that sees little to no play, and the little play that it sees, it's in the negative win rate. Right? There's not like a good deck with it or anything like that. And it's just very clearly like a bad card that just serves not really much of a purpose besides just filling up the card pool, right?
Yep.
Gluten-free bread are also cards that are not really meta relevant, but in a vacuum, you could consider them decent cards. But unfortunately, they just, the niche that they do fill is just not a good one, and basically they're just not powerful enough compared to other cards. Like they get outshined by others. It's a worse version of something else. It doesn't have to be a strictly worse version of another card. Like it could be a unique card as well. But it's just overall, like a card that in a vacuum would seem pretty okay, but it just doesn't quite make it, right?
Yep.
It's a bit of a tricky one, but it is a tier that I'm pretty fond of. Then we got the smartphone. Smartphone, mainstream tool, mainstream tier. Good cards that are meta-defining, but not broken or necessarily unhealthy for the game, fit into that one. And then there's the Dr. Manhattan tier.
Yeah.
Dr. Manhattan tier is for cards that are just fundamentally broken. They don't have to be broken in the sense that they are the just absolutely like they had an insane win rate. They could also just be very unhealthy for the game as well. Cards that just had to be changed and fixed for whatever reason fall into this tier.
Okay.
Any questions?
Nope. I got it. It all came back to me with gluten-free bread. I remember.
That's the best one.
Oh my goodness. On reveal, if this is the only card here, destroy all other locations. Does that include opponents' cards?
Absolutely. In fact, fun fact, if there were to be a card that says this can't be destroyed, Galactus gets rid of it. Because anything that is unlocked, those two locations are essentially gone. When Galactus comes in, he says, "Kneel before Galactus!" And then he just breaks the game, essentially. Turning the game from a 3-location fight into a 1-location battle. That's what Galactus does. So only that location matters. The other 2 locations are deleted, and the cards within them are deleted as well.
But this has to be the only thing there.
It has to be the only thing there.
Okay. And it's 6, and the game is like 7 turns.
It is important to note, and I think I have to. I'm not gonna go into specifics here, but I think this is knowledge that you also need to know. There are very few, but there are a couple of cards that essentially, whenever they're destroyed, they respawn into a random location. So the interaction with Galactus with these cards specifically is very interesting because these cards will respawn again, and if the locations are destroyed from left to right. So if they will keep spawning until they land in the location where Galactus is in, and then they'll stay there. So that is an interaction that is important for you to know.
Okay, if a location's destroyed, are all the other things there destroyed too?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. This card looks like a puzzle. It looks like we're trying to.
Let's see that CGB logic in there.
I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know about, like how things work in the game. But I learned that the land shark thingy moves around, just hops around through locations. But that's
again. Any questions regarding this card, especially with this card, like don't hesitate.
Yeah. I mean, is it common to have effects that move entire armies off of locations? That seems like it would be broken.
Well, just to clarify, like when you move something, the movement happens before the reveal happens, right?
Okay.
So when Galactus' effect triggers, nothing else, like cards can't be like, oh well, I move here. You can't do that.
Okay. No in response.
If Jeff was in the location on the left and Galactus is played in the middle, Jeff dies, which is a great thing, by the way.
Hell yeah. Oh man, gosh. It's really hard to comprehend how often you can have, like, I guess it's if this is your only card, not if it's
also
the only card.
Another information I'm going to throw at you. There are tools to ramp in the game.
Okay.
Just letting you know that.
Okay. Cool. You would throw that in because the idea of ramping and playing this early can punish somebody who overcommitted. So maybe you make low impact plays for the first couple of turns and you ramp, and then you throw this on a location you previously didn't commit anything to. It's if this is your only card, it's not if it is the only card, so it doesn't matter what your opponent's up to. So then basically you blow up the other two locations and you're down to one location versus one location. And you probably took a lot more of your opponent's stuff with you because you set this into motion. That is probably what we want to do. From there, will you win that one location? That is really hard to comprehend, like what the next turn is like, because now it's all in on that spot. So, it does render obsolete any cards that move locations. You just kind of have to throw them on that location. It's everything into one. Can opponents play around this? I imagine Snap is a game where holding back is... Maybe there aren't that many ways to punish it, and this is one of them. Oh, this one... Okay, I really feel in the dark. Like, I feel like there's so little to go off whether or not I'll win that location, but it has to be somewhat broken to destroy two locations in the game. It's like a fundamental changing of the game. It's a game warping effect. How good it is depends on, do you win that last location after setting this up? Maybe you played this 1 or 2 turns early because you ramped, but you're still starting the one location left in the game at 3. And then the opponent tries to take advantage. So maybe that's really bad. Maybe it's not good to go into like 2 turns to go and that you only have 3. Maybe those stats are really brutal and it makes it this bad. Oh, I don't know, man. Oh, this is a tough one. Oh, I don't like you. I don't like you right now.
Sorry.
I just got... What the hell? Why not? Destroying 2 locations. I look forward to hearing why this is bad. I've done dumber things on the internet. Here's a Dr. Manhattan. Let's go. This is busted. This is busted. It has to be busted, right? You're blowing up 2 locations. This is so busted. Dr. Manhattan. Easy.
Correct.
Yeah? Oh my God, I almost said it. I was like, I'm going to go high or I'm going to go hella low. Oh my God.
That was the play. Honestly, like I said, I didn't want to pull any punches. This is a very difficult card to evaluate. Even if you play the game, it's hard to evaluate. I let off with it because in reality, you don't really need to know much context for this card outside of like, can you ramp and how exactly it works, right? But knowing what other Marvel Snap cards do and stuff, like with Galactus, it doesn't really matter for the most part. Galactus is a card this is an old version of the card. When it was released like this is a card that wasn't essentially broken in the sense that the deck had a tremendous win rate. But as you said, and the very key aspect of this, it is a game warping effect. Which means it does something just absolutely ridiculous that, other cards generally don't do. Like Galactus is the only card that is able to destroy other locations, right? Which is something that at first people didn't know exactly what was going to happen. It's like, will my card here that can't be destroyed die? Yes, it does.
This
everything
is the only
does.
Card that does this. Right?
Yes.
Oh my God.
The reason why this card was ultimately nerfed, first of all, it was doing better than they expected. So the first thing that they did is they reduced the power from 3 to 2, thinking that would really fix the issue. But the biggest problem with this card and why this card was fundamentally broken in Marvel Snap is because it was extremely polarizing. And it really, it led to this like unnecessary binary nature in the game of just like, do I play around Galactus or do I not? Like a lot of times, because Marvel Snap is about winning 2 out of 3 locations, the opponents could set up certain things, and there were decks that just could not really do anything to stop it, right? There were decks that were more proactive and focused on their own synergies, and they didn't really have proper ways to deal with it. And the thing is, a Galactus deck is going to be fine-tuned to winning 1 location. They can do stuff like play cards that will move onto your side of the location and give you negative points, for example.
Okay.
And they can then just develop really big cards that are just going to outmuscle essentially yours, right? Because most decks are designed to win 2 out of 3 locations, not to go all in unga bunga into one. So this card was super polarizing. It's not as broken as other Dr. Manhattans have been in the win rate aspect, like I mentioned, but just the nature of it and the effect that it had on the game was overall considered to be quite negative. And over time, it has been changed. Now Galactus is a 6 energy, 5 power card. But in order to play it, in order for its effect to trigger, you have to be winning the location.
Okay.
On top of that, on top of like it being the only card there, you have to be winning the location, because this makes it so that because before you could just play Galactus and no matter what, you would destroy that and you would turn the game into a 1 location. Then you could claw back into that game with your your deck that is like really fine tuned to be able to win that kind of game, right?
Okay.
And it just kind of like took the identity of Marvel Snap away from the game, right? It's just like we're no longer trying to manage our resources and see which collections to commit to or not. It's just all in on one. And that was ultimately very detrimental. And this card eventually got axed because of that. I started off, like I said, with a really tough one. Yeah. I do like to start off with a bang, and I thought this would be... Don't worry, like the last card that we're gonna reveal is even harder than this one.
Oh, good.
So don't you worry about that. Yeah. Just chill. It's fine. It's fine. So yeah. But you got it right. And I had a feeling you were gonna swing like that. You were gonna either NPC or Manhattan this guy.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought about. I was so close to NPC, but I'm like, they would never like Galactus be an NPC, right? Never.
Yeah. I mean that is good logic.
NPC can there?
That is good logic. Also, as well, very important characters like the devs want them to be good, right? Mm-hmm. So, good call there. All right, we're gonna move on to round 2. We're gonna go over from this crazy thing all the way down to a 1-drop. All right, changing the flow completely. Let's talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy villain. I don't know if he turned into a good guy later. I don't care. He was an asshole, so I put him in the villains.
Oh yeah.
Yondu. Yondu is a 1 energy, 2 powered card that has an on-reveal effect that says, destroy the card that costs the least in your opponent's deck.
1 mana, 2 power card, on reveal, destroy the card that costs the least in your opponent's deck. So the very first thing that occurred to me is the card that you showed me last time, that when you destroy it, buffs all your stuff.
Good. No. I need to clarify this. The destroy effects, if you destroy, and this is actually a little bit unintuitive, so that's a very good point that you brought out. If Yondu destroys a card within the opponent's deck, it's like destroy effect does not trigger. It doesn't really count.
Oh my god!
The card has to be in play.
Oh
so if
my god!
Okay. Yeah, I important information there.
Okay, no, I glazed. I did the magic reading brain thing where you just start reading, and I read destroy the card that costs the least, and I didn't finish the sentence. In your deck.
Yeah, in your opponent's deck.
It goes
in your opponent's deck.
It goes into their deck and nukes something, dude. Yes. That's the arrow. That's the flying arrowy thing. Yeah.
I mean, when he does his thing, he just more whistles,
Yeah.
I can't whistle, but
I can't either.
You can imagine me whistling. I feel a connection to you now. My wife makes fun of me not being able to whistle all the time, and my Twitch chat too. But
let me show you a trick. Do you hear this? You don't hear that, do you? Yeah, that's me whistling. My microphone just doesn't pick up that frequency. It's so good.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I think that's terrible. That's actually wow. Okay.
Is this effect? My first question is this a common...
Is your chat that gullible, first of all? Second of all, continue. Is your chat that gullible, first of all? No comment?
All right. Yeah. Is it common to get, can you, get a curve of these effects that go into the opponent's deck and destroy cards before they come out, or is this a very unique effect?
There are a few cards. There are a it's not like there are that many, because you have to be careful in printing too many cards that can mill, because Marvel Snap decks are 12 card decks.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not the case that there's like a version of Yondu at every step of the curve. But there are other cards that do similar a similar thing.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for, like mill strategy, right? You play this. If I were playing Magic, I'd copy it, I'd reanimate it, I'd destroy their deck with it. It would be wonderful. I would love every second. How good is it to destroy the card that costs the least in your opponent's deck? Obviously, it ranges. If I'm assuming there are aggro decks. I'm assuming that if this card were actually really good, that you would often Yondu another Yondu, which would be kind of crazy. Wreck yourself. That's, is that good? Not really. It's just kind of breaking even to play a 2-power thing on one. And then there might be decks where this hits a silver bullet, like this hits something very crucial. Also, it doesn't necessarily hit a one cost thing, because like maybe it's in their hand, right? Maybe
it's always destroying the least. Yeah, the card that costs the least.
So I don't know. Maybe they use card draw or something. All that's left is like a Galactus, and you're like, got him. Got him.
Could happen.
Yeah, he may be your father, boy, but he ain't your daddy. Let's see, what would it be? So how good is this? I guess it depends on like competition. Can you get better stats on board? Probably not. 2 seem like the going rate. So you want something that enters and has an effect. This isn't mega. I don't think this is busted. I don't think this is busted the way that the 1-drop who buffed everything was. Like, that is just power on board. This is an interesting answer to that card, though. I don't think it's terrible. Mill in Magic is generally overrated. Like, I'm going to go down the list of like things I have learned. Mill in Magic is generally overrated, right? Because of RNG. But this is like kind of surgical. And it almost certainly hits the lowest impact card that your opponent has left. It can high roll, sure. And maybe there's a silver bullet scenario where it hits a combo piece. But it almost certainly is like milling the worst card in their deck in that sense. In Hearthstone, mill, I learned, is good because you can just hit their win con, but this seems like it's designed not to do that. I will probably learn something from this. I am going to take a shot that in Snap this is an NPC, and my logic is because hitting their lowest cost thing makes it more likely that they'll have their most powerful thing that their deck wants to do on curve. So I'm going to go with NPC.
Correct. Exactly. That's the thought process that I wanted you to pick up. The fact that it's destroying the card that costs the least, right? I didn't want you to be like too swayed by the fact that, this could be in a mill strategy and stuff. The mill archetype, now I can say it, the mill archetype does exist in Marvel Snap, but it has never really been very good. And now that the card pool has expanded, and there are cards that, add cards onto your deck and such, it's way less of the case. This card, the fact that it's hitting that weakest card is most often than not, you're just going to be helping your opponent draw their stronger cards. Like, this card can turn to a situation where it's actually helping, it's aiding your opponent in doing so. Yondu at the moment has a terrible win rate. Very, very low play rate on top of that, so that makes the win rate even over worse. It's statistic because the sample size is smaller, right? Mm-hmm. And it's an NPC. It's an NPC as NPCs go. So it definitely, it has had its moments, and mill, as you said, is very fun. And in a vacuum should make sense in Marvel Snap with the low deck size, but there's only 6 turns to be able to do this. And overall, Yondu is just underwhelming. And I'm really happy you picked that up, because that was exactly like the rationalization that I was waiting for, like the fact that you're hitting that weak card. So I don't feel bad about leading off with this card early.
Do you? Hey,
good job.
Thanks. Have you or do you know of like the best hit with a Yondu? Like, did anybody ever high roll like I was speculating about? Is that a thing that happens?
I mean, it happens. The problem is that it happens in like 1 out of 99 games if you hit something that's like actually like, wow, you hit their win condition. But most often than not, it's just not. It's just gonna help them draw, right? It's gonna help them pick up. Obviously, like the only play this card, like this card only fits in a mill deck, and like I said, mill decks are just not in a good position. They've never been, but now they're in a worse position than they've pretty much ever been. This card also saw play for a while in destroy decks, but that was when this card had a different effect. This card used to just destroy a random card, right? And the destroy does synergize with like destroy cards, you know, that cards that may count, you know, how many destroy procs you've had or what kind of cards you've destroyed. But ever since they changed this card and they transformed it into more like a mill card, I argue it got worse. And you know, the numbers kind of like show that. So yeah, Yondu, you know, kind of an irrelevant character doomed to irrelevant meta.
Yeah.
Impact.
Yes, our first
All right,
NPC.
2-0, CGB going by. And both of these cases, I thought for a moment that you were going in the opposite direction, but you end up landing just fine, and you're off to a solid start. Let's go to the third villain. Now, I want to let you know beforehand that this is perhaps the most beautiful piece of art you're ever going to witness, but there are kids watching, so I need you to control yourself, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Let's talk about Hellcow. Yeah, no, right. Keep it down. Keep it down, GB. Hellcow is a 4 energy, 6 power card. All right.
I don't want to look.
With this just look at her. Look at her now.
No. You just keep reading. You keep reading, and I don't have to look.
I mean, I think it's beautiful. I think it's like actually the best variant personally.
Oh my
but
God.
you know, maybe people disagree with me. I think this is like the best pixel variant in the entire game. I see he's agreeing with me. He accepts it. Hellcow is a 4 energy 6 power card with an activate ability. I'm gonna explain what that means. That says discard 2 cards from your hand. Okay, activate is a mechanic in Marvel Snap that allows you to essentially, it's like an activated ability in Magic, really. The difference is, when do you do this? Well, you do this at the same time that you're setting up your plays. But it also factors into the sequencing. So for example, if I'm to play a card, like let's say it's turn 5, right? I play a card and then I trigger activate. The card will reveal first, and then the activate will trigger. But if I trigger activate first and I play the card after, it'll be the opposite order. You following what I'm saying here?
I think so, yeah.
It's essentially an activated ability like in Magic. It's just that you have more room to dictate when this happens. It does not happen on reveal, but it also means that you cannot trigger this ability the same turn that you play the card. You can only activate on following turns after. All right?
So, all right, I'm having like weird Yu-Gi-Oh moments. Can the opponent, can they see what it is? It's not like a trap, right? It's not like face down. They can see what this is?
They can see what this is.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, but
yes.
It doesn't. Okay. Why would you activate it? What do you get?
Well, we've spoken about like discard synergies in the past. Like in the first video, we spoke about, you know, discard synergies and stuff. Like they do exist within Marvel Snap. Keep that in mind.
This card looks so horrible and seems so horrible. Why would you show me this? Let me think.
Because I needed to get this GIF, this pixel art, this beautiful pixel art onto my channel. Like, don't judge me.
Okay.
You can't.
Yeah. Is this just fan service?
You can't unsee it, can you?
Is this Mogwai audience fan service? Is this how you treat your audience?
yeah. I mean, yeah. Pretty much.
Oh my God. This seems so bad. Why would you want to discard 2 cards? Even in like, God, my MTG brain is screaming at me. It's really pissed at this. Because even in like limited, in Magic, in sets that had Hellbent, the mechanic that makes things stronger when you're empty-handed, I still don't think you'd play this. Just going down 2 cards is so bad. It's so bad. So 6 power must be like at least a point above rate, maybe 2. It's gotta be. So that has.
Oh yeah, I mean, I will reference like vanilla stat lines. Okay, that is some feedback that I got that I can provide to you, right? So we know that for 1 energy, 2 power is the vanilla stat line essentially. For 2, generally like I'd say the vanilla stat line is technically 4, though most cards sacrifice a little bit of that for 3, you know, for an effect. For 3 power, you want to be aiming at like for 3 energy, you want to be aiming at like 6 to 7 power. Or 5, 6, 5 or 6, I would say. Like 7 is a bit high, but it can also be done. Like keep in mind, like we're talking about stats, but also the effects adding up to these stats. You know, at the end of the day, it's a game about like 1 stat. For 4 energy, I'd say the vanilla stat line for 4 energy in Marvel Snap revolves around 8.
What?
Important information, I guess.
This card has to be trash. It has to be. What the hell? Dude, you're fucking with me.
Me?
There's something wrong. No, this card is terrible. This card's like the worst card I think you've shown me ever. It has to be. It has to be. Arr. No, I'm not overanalyzing. You're gonna explain to me why I'm wrong, and I'm gonna no. I'm not just. I hate card disadvantage. I hate it so much. No, maybe there's a combo with this, but I don't see it, and I wouldn't want to run it. And then there's the problem of if you don't have your combo piece, you just suck. You just suck. Maybe you have no cards in your hand. Nope, still below rate. It's still below rate. This card seems terrible. No. Is there something below NPC? Like, I have actual disdain going on right now. This card. Lowest rating possible. Final answer.
I'm afraid you're looking at a smartphone, my friend.
What the? No, I'm not. That is.
Yes, you are. Accept it. Look at her again, CGB.
If that's a smartphone, it's
this is your punishment. Look at the card for 5 seconds. I will revise the recording. I will know. Okay, stare at her while I explain. All right, Hellcow. I did remember in the first video we talked about a card that when you discarded it brought itself upon into the field, and it was like 7 points, right? What I mean by this is there are strong discard synergies within Marvel Snap. And the ability to activate this ability, because this card used to be an on-reveal effect. And even then, it was stronger when it was an on-reveal effect. It was 8 power, right? Like that was kind of like the point. It was a lot of strength and stuff, and now it got toned down.
I'm looking at the nerfed version.
You're looking at the buffed version.
Oh, okay.
You're looking at the buffed version of the card, because the activate in this card is a big deal, because it allows you to set things up so that when you do trigger the effect, you pretty much know exactly what you're discarding at that point, because you can wait until the very last turn to discard with this card. And there's a lot of discard synergies. There's a lot of reasons to discard within Marvel Snap. And we did talk about this in the first video. In case people in the comments just go crazy at me, okay?
Let them have it, guys. Let them have it.
No, hey, no, I spoiled you Proxima Midnight, which should be a good clue. Just saying. But yeah, this card is a little bit underpowered. Like six power is like the bare minimum for like a 4-drop to have a real presence, right? It's definitely below average for the vanilla, but the activate with this discard effect is tremendous. Just because you can wait until later, and there's just things you can do with it. I don't want to.
You don't want to spoil it.
I don't want to spoil, like,
you want me to remember.
There's discard mechanics and stuff. You got that MTG brain. Just store it in.
Okay.
But ultimately,
Fine.
what we have here is a card that is actually better than it's ever been because it got changed to this activate effect. This activate mechanic is one of the newest things that they've implemented onto Marvel Snap. It actually, I learned this mechanic when I got back into the game after being off for like 4 months. And it's definitely a very powerful mechanic because having agency over exactly when this happens, and like I told you, being able to time it alongside your plays, like being able to make sure that it goes off before or after other cards are sequenced, is also a very big deal. And having that ability to do that, you talk about card advantage, you know, and while that is obviously important, it's also important to note that, you know, if you are triggering this, like you could potentially trigger it at the very last turn, and then you don't really worry about card advantage at that point because you've already made your last play. And that's the big reason this card is a force to be reckoned with in the current Marvel Snap meta, and it is definitely a meta defining card. And yeah, we got you with this one. We got you with the Pixel Cow. I could not be happier. Not gonna lie.
I'm seething. I'm seething. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We shake it off. You know, they can't all be
Yeah, we
W's.
shake it off, and you're still positive. You're still 66% win rate. Don't let that go down though.
Okay.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure.
It's fine.
Next, we're gonna reveal a pretty iconic character. Actually, I think you've heard of this guy before. Let's talk about Magneto.
Yes.
Magneto is a 6 energy, 12 power card with an on-reveal effect that says move all enemy 3 and 4 cost cards to this location.
Ha! Interesting. What if the location has too many things?
Then he won't.
Then it just doesn't happen. Okay.
It just doesn't
It
happen.
tries but
Exactly.
fails. Okay.
Exactly.
I would prefer they got, like, you know, crushed and obliterated into atoms. That would be nice.
Don't you think it's a fitting ability for the character though?
Yeah,
I think it is because, you know, it's moving specific stuff, right? Which aligns with his ability as well. Like he only can move metal, unlike, you know, Professor Xavier or Jean Grey. He's limited to a specific compound, right? And I think it translated well, like thematically speaking, at least.
So your objective, like, how do you break this? How do you take this and break this?
I don't know what you mean.
Don't worry about it. You underplay a location, then you play this, and you pull everybody, like, well, not everybody, but a decent number, probably at least two of your opponent's goody critters from the last couple turns. So let's see. You said vanilla stat line. So a 3 is like a 5 or a 6, and a 4, as I now know, is like a 6 to an 8. You pull their health.
5. The vanilla stat line for 5 is generally like 9 to 10.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
These fluctuate a lot because, you know, cards pay prices for all sorts of different abilities, right? So keep that in mind. But generally, like the vanilla stat line, the official vanilla stat line is I'd say for 4, it's more like 7, really 8. You know, like the most 4 drops, you know, like good 4 drops can provide you with more power than that. But then again, it's just like different requirements, different circumstances. Just so you know. Okay, the vanilla card, the vanilla 6-drop in Marvel Snap is no ability and has 12 power.
Okay.
But that's like, these are like the beginner cards essentially.
Sure. Okay. All right. So this is on rate power wise, and then has this ability. And you're grabbing a 3, you're grabbing a 4. You're yoinking that over to a location. If the opponent played multiple 3s and 4s when you play this, you pull all these things over to maybe your underplayed location so that you win the other 2 or are winning the other 2. Seems like a bit of a plan because the goal is to win 2 out of 3. So this feels like, despite the 12 power, I mean, this thing has like maybe it still wins a location by some miracle, but it just feels like the sacrifice. You know, I volunteer as tribute. I am Magneto. Come and get me. And you use it to try to win the other locations. It seems like a super powerful effect. What if you both play Magneto? Whose goes?
Well, it depends. As you know, people reveal depending on who's winning. The player who's winning reveals their cards first every turn.
Okay.
So your Magneto will reveal first, would move whatever, and then their Magneto would reveal and would move your stuff.
Interesting. That's got to be fun. God, I want Magneto to be good. This is my favorite character from the X-Men comics.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah.
He kind of look like him, actually.
Yeah, I'll take it. Sure. Man. But is this busted? Is this busted? Is this Manhattan? It seems like it could be. It seems like this could be busted. Is this? But there's a big difference. Okay, Manhattan was Galactus. Galactus destroys everything. I think there's a big difference psychologically and mechanic-wise between destroying everything and moving things. Because I bet there's counterplay to moving things. I bet that you can recover in some way. Maybe you're Magneto second, you know, maybe you hold back Magneto when you think they have Magneto. I'm not sure. But this doesn't seem Galactus busted. I think there's a fundamental difference there between, like, in Magic terms, tapping all lands and destroying all lands. Yeah, I want to call you a smartphone, but is that disrespectful to my boy? I want you to be a Manhattan because that's awesome. And if you're an NPC, or if, God forbid, you're gluten-free bread, I will cry. I will absolutely cry. I can't do it. I can't do it even if I start to think it. I can't do it. So, I mean, you know what I love? You know what I love more than anything? You know what I just, like, would be lost without? My smartphone. And that's how I feel about Magneto. I'm going to declare you a smartphone in a loving sense. You are the smartest of smartphones I've owned. You know, you're Apple 1.0 in its time. That's what you are. Anyway. Go ahead. That's me. I say smartphone.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And actually a good description. One of the best smartphones you can possibly have. Magneto is an example of, in my opinion, one of the better balanced cards and just design cards in Marvel Snap history. Magneto has been a meta-defining card since its very inception, and remains so today, but has never been considered broken. This is the example that good cards can exist without warping the game and having everything revolve around them. Magneto has always been very close to that, you know, that line of just like, oh man, is this guy too good? But it never was quite the case. It's just a very, very good card that you can't go wrong with, because the 12 power is very solid. It is the same as the vanilla, right? And it's something that you can depend on. You can utilize Magneto to try to just outmuscle a location and take it. But the disruptive ability can be extremely like useful. It can legitimately be game winning more than half of the time. Being able to move around your opponent's 3 and 4 cost cards, especially when you're planning out how the end game is going to look and you're factoring every single card that you have in every location, all of a sudden those cards being moved away from there is a level of disruption that it's very easy to just not play around Magneto. I still do it all the time. It's really annoying because I love the character too. I really like the card, but I think it's like perhaps the card that I've lost to the most. You know, situations where I think I have everything figured out and it's like, oh wait, they can play Magneto in this location that's almost empty and move all of my shit. That's what Magneto is. Magneto is just, it's gonna be a good card from beginning to end, really. There's no reason to redesign it. There's no reason to tweak it in any sort of way. And it is really, it sets a precedent. Like it is what every good card wants to be, essentially, you know, and what it should be. So, you don't have to feel bad for calling out smartphones. It's fine, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's very good. He is where he needs to be. And I'm happy that it's not a case of a card that was just, like, super broken and then over-nerfed into just, like, irrelevance, right?
Yes.
But Magneto has always been the same. And you nailed it pretty good. I was hoping that you would go the Dr. Manhattan route for a moment there. I let your bias take over.
Oh, I wish.
But you did it. I'm proud of you.
Okay.
I'm proud of you.
I love Magneto. And it feels like kind of I think Magneto would be a blue card, In Magic, Magneto would be a blue card. I think so.
Wait, is your name Covered Go Blue because you really like blue?
Do you know the real reason?
No.
I mean, it was generated by Xbox Live randomly.
Oh,
I used my Kinect on my Xbox 360 to do my
but
first
how did
ever
know? How
Twitch
did know that
stream.
blue? How did it throw like blue? Covered Go Blue.
The Go Blue, I believe, is for Michigan. The University of Michigan is a sports team, and their slogan is Go Blue. And I played NCAA football 2013.
Whoa.
I have a dynasty that's like 50 years deep playing the University of Michigan. So I think that's where they got Go Blue. And I think Covert came from the other game I was spamming at the time, which was Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark. I feel like I've heard about that before.
Yeah, it was like kind of trying to be GoldenEye, but with like a more
like
modern lady spy. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, but blue is your favorite color in Magic.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so this is proof that over time, every single human being that you meet will ultimately let you down. That was my moment for me today. Okay, I thought relatively highly of you. Now we're back on the even baseline. Right?
Okay, good.
Okay.
Good. I will shoot for neutral by end of day.
Yeah, that's at this point, knowing this piece of information, that's as high as you can aim, really. So good luck with that. But yeah, at least you got your boy Magneto right. You made up for that, the Hellcow incident, and you're up to 3-1. Not looking bad, CGB. But we still have 3 more to go. And now I'm gonna drop you round 5. Ella,
Okay. We shouldn't do that.
Chat would die of cringe when I do that, but I like you appreciated that. 6 energy, 6 power. On reveal, resurrect all cards you discarded to random locations.
On reveal, resurrect all cards you discarded to random location. Oh no. Is this what you're trying to tell me you were setting up with the stupid cow? Oh my god. All cards you discarded to random locations. Ever in the game or this turn?
In the game.
Through the course of the current game. All
Yes.
cards you discarded. I see.
Yes.
Okay. It's becoming a little clearer what we're up to. I don't know how unique this ability is, but are there other, like, if you say use a different card to resurrect something that was discarded, and then the thing that you resurrected somehow gets removed, and does this? No, removal's not that big of a deal here. Never.
If you bring back something, if you resurrect something in Marvel Snap once, you can't resurrect it again. Okay. Basically.
Yep.
It's out of the pool.
Okay.
It's out of the pool. Yeah.
All right. And this feels like it's supposed to be the hide your children art. My goodness. It's gonna. Ooh. Okay.
It's a pretty looking one, huh?
That's a way to describe it.
No. Come on. Be honest.
I went to Hot Topic and I had a similar feeling.
Well played.
The rate is low, like half, but I assume you're not playing this unless what you're getting is way more than that. And this is kind of a way to cheat, right? If you're discarding Yeah, this is like mana cheating, kind of, if you're discarding bigger things. You just discard higher curve items, then play this, and you get them all. God, are you Manhattan? How busted is this strategy? Are you a doc? This seems insane. Now that, especially, you are very mean for showing me the cow, having me grossly get destroyed by the cow, and then you show me this, and now I'm like, oh my God, I'm Little Timmy. I have the combo with my cow now. But that does seem really good. That seems like a way to cheat mana. You said there were ramp cards in the game. I haven't seen many. I haven't seen a lot of things that are like cheating. I've seen effects that like are warping, but I don't feel like a lot of things are cheating. This feels like cheating. I want to say this is a Dr. Manhattan. I want to say that, but is it too good or is it just good? There's no way. NPC gluten-free bread. No way. Smartphone could be a staple of a strategy, but it feels too good. It feels like if there's no way to interact with this, it's too good. All right, I'm going to call you Dr. Sexy Hot Topic Manhattan. Final answer.
Correct.
Okay.
And I really wanted you to get this one because this is the card that I hate the most in Marvel Snap.
Yeah.
I think I'm about like 54 tantrum based Hela rants in on my streams. You know, I do count them. And probably my viewers probably too. This is a card that just this is an old version of the card, by the way.
Okay.
As the Dr. Manhattans go, the new version of Hela is the same, but the cards that you resurrect have -2 power.
Okay.
Still broken.
Yeah.
It's still fundamentally like this card should not exist. This card is, and the recent buff to Hellcow that I showed you earlier has brought her back into the meta. Just so you know, like this card, leader was a thing, right? But there's no card that I despised more as Hela. I took a break for 4 months from the game, in which Hela was finally out of the picture after the nerf. But as soon as I come back, a few days in, they decide that it's a great idea to like buff the Hellcow, and all of a sudden she's back in there. So for me, she never stopped being the meta.
Ouch.
I hate this bitch. I hate her. Like she's the worst. Like she is. The problem with Hela is that Hela decks don't really interact with you much. They don't really care about what you're doing. They just play, I'm going to play my card that discards a card. I'm going to play another card that discards a card. Oh, here we go. Another card discards a card. And you are on a deck with obscenely large creatures, including the likes of Magneto, for example. And you just start discarding them. And then you play Hela on turn 6 with Hellcow. The problem with Hela, what's supposed to balance Hela, is the RNG of the nature of discard effects. If you look at Hellcow, when it says discard 2 cards from your hand, they are random. I hope I clarified that. But you know that if you didn't know that I said that probably would have made you like call her an NPC or something.
I was already hating as hard as I could.
Exactly. So I think I spared you with that information. But basically, a lot of the discard effects are random, even though they have been fine-tuned to be less random over time. And the problem is any sort of buff that is applied towards the discard archetype is an inherent buff to Hela. But there's a lot more that you can do with discard strategies besides Hela. But Hela herself just forces the other discard cards to not be as consistent. Because the moment and one of the problems, like Hellcow used to be like an on-reveal effect. So you would play Hellcow on turn 4. A lot of times you would discard Hela. And then then the opponent's just like, oh, snap. And, and they would just laugh at you and stuff, and it would all be fine. I still don't like balancing cards around variants. Like, okay, this card is like super broken, but it has RNG elements to it that keep it more, like reduce the win rate. I think that's just lazy balancing, because ultimately, like, this card just steals games. She steals games, and they don't have to do anything but just play on curve, discard their stuff, and then boom, drop Hela on 6 and vomit everything out there. The amount of power output that this card is inherently capable of is absurd. And the nerf to have it have -2 power has not really contributed too much. I think she's too good. I think this card needs to be redesigned in one way or another, but I know at this point it's not going to happen. Because Second Dinner loves this card.
Oh,
people.
Okay.
Like I had a friend. They got into Marvel Snap. I made them this cool deck that was like controlly and stuff. And they just like looked like I looked at them and they were looking into like the abyss. They were just like completely out of it. They seemed bored out of their minds. And I look at them and I was like, what's wrong, Paco? It's like I like playing Hela. This is the Unga Bunga card. This is how the noobs win.
This is
CGB.
This is the TikTok card.
This is the TikTok card. It's a TikTok card. And I hate it.
Oh my god.
I hate it.
But dopamine.
I want to die.
God.
Worst card ever. And
it
I obviously I put it in here because I need every now and then I need my Hela rant. I need to get it out of my system. It's not good to build up all this frustration and anger inside. You just gotta let it out, man. Fuck this card.
Hella good, man. What can you say?
Oh. That's we're gonna edit that out.
No,
Okay.
no. Keep it. It's gold. Nobody said it before. I guarantee.
It's Jesus. I think I'm ready to move on though because staring at this card just angers me.
Sure.
But you nailed it.
That's
You nailed
another
it, Dr.
emotion
Manhattan.
with
And I did want to give you a clue, yeah, with the Hellcow, you know, like that's what I was talking about, you know. Now hopefully the comment section are a little bit kinder to me in this regard, okay? I'm not throwing him completely blind into the water here.
That was actually really
yeah,
nice.
this card is the worst.
You're
You're good though. You're 4-1. You're 4-1. We're looking. You could even have an even better performance than last time, but you have 2 cards left, and here is where the real test begins. Here we go. Round 6. Baron Zemo.
So we got 3 mana for a 5 power that says on reveal, recruit a card that costs the least from your opponent's deck to your side of this location. Stealing. He
is a villain.
Oh,
A criminal.
Such a thief. Ooh, dude, people like stealing. I mean, in a card game sense.
Obviously.
In a digital card game sense, not in a paper one.
In-game, yes.
Yeah, in-game. Okay. What's up, Baron? Recruit a card that costs the least. And man, now you got me thinking about the other card you showed me. You got me thinking about Yondu. So going into the opponent's deck and destroying a card in there, the lowest cost, making it more likely that they'll draw their higher cost, was not good. It was NPC. This is an almost vanilla stat line, but you get the lowest cost from the opponents to your side. So you get some amount of additional stats and effect on top of this. And it actually comes out of their deck onto your side. So if we steal the Omega Busted one cost thingy that buffs everything, that would work if they were, legal in that sense at the same time. But just for an example. But also, if they don't play a lot of ones, they don't have, maybe there are even better ones that I haven't seen that this takes. But say they already played their ones. Heck, say they already played their 2s. Now you get a 3. Like, you can high roll with this. It is, gosh, it's only 3 to cast. Oh, I don't know. This seems good. This seems good. What's the downside? Is there any reason a deck wouldn't play this? Better rates? Seems like the rate's fine, plus you get whatever you steal. Nope, that ain't it. If you steal something from your opponent's deck that is... maybe what you're stealing from their deck doesn't synergize with your deck, but still, just the stats puts it above rate. So I don't think that's a good reason. God, does this go in every deck? Maybe it does. That would make Baron... Is it broken? Is it broken? No, it can't be broken, right? But I don't know. I feel like people will get sick of this. Like, as much as people love stealing things, they also hate having things stolen out of their deck, right? Oh, man. Oh. And what if it's just all boom booms left in the deck when you play this, like on, you know, the final turn or something? Oh, it's gross. Oh, people might get sick of this. Which would mean maybe they had to nerf it or something. I can't think of reasons for decks not to play it. That's the problem I'm having. That it might be too ubiquitous, so maybe you gotta cut it, right? Is this Dr. Manhattan also? It's like on rate great with the upside of maybe game winning. Take their Magneto. Gotcha. There's no way it's an NPC. There's no way it's gluten-free bread. Is it a smartphone? I feel like it goes in everything. Smartphone is like good staple, not broken. I feel like this might be just everything broken. Dude, are you going to show me that many Dr. Manhattans? Maybe. I don't care. I don't see a reason not to play this in everything. And that kind of ubiquity is not healthy. I'm going to call it a Dr. Manhattan.
Gotcha.
You got me? Why?
Gotcha. Because, my friend, you're looking at a fine piece of gluten-free bread.
No! What? Okay.
I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna explain.
Okay.
First of all, I know this is a hard card to evaluate. Like putting this card in, I was conscious of that, which is why I planted in Yondu earlier, because Yondu actually goes index with Baron Zemo. If you think about it, they synergize really well together. It's not just about milling. If you think about it, Yondu destroys the card that costs the least, which makes it so that he enhances the quality of whatever Baron Zemo is going to pull out after, because he's removing the lowest cost card, right?
Yeah, but you don't want to play him, right? Because he's not good.
Exactly. No. I'm just saying that these two inherently synergize together.
Yeah, they
and
do.
That was kind of like, and I did tell you that the mill archetype was not good, right?
Yeah,
and that's something where Baron Zemo has gone. Now, your thought process, like the issue here is that your assessment is correct regarding like the stats, like being able. As I told you, for 3 drops, like reaching 7-8 points is definitely very doable. Baron Zemo is definitely great stat-wise. It's not an NPC because in a vacuum, this card is good. This card is good stats, right? It's 5 stats on the main body, and where are you going to get? Like 2 to 3 on the second one? The problem is you have to factor in, and something that I've realized playing a lot of Baron Zemo is that you have to factor in the space. Baron Zemo is occupying 2 out of 4 spaces in a location, and he's putting up a body that is inherently very small. So there's a lot of locations that spawn things that take up space. There are strategies, like I mentioned to you, that are good at like clogging locations. And Baron Zemo plays really poorly into them. And I believe this is what really ultimately holds the card back from like smartphone status. It's not far off. I don't think it is inherently a bad card. It does have potential. You mentioned the fact that if you play this on the very last turn, you can actually grab something of really high value from the opponent. But in practice, this doesn't happen as often as you think. And ultimately, this card falls into gluten-free bread because while it fills a niche, but unfortunately the mill niche is just not in a good place. It never has been, but now it's worse than ever. It also gets outclassed by other cards that spread out like it does, but they do so more efficiently. They generally provide you more points while doing so. This is definitely a hard card. Like I said, I'm leaving the roughest for last, and this was a tough card to evaluate. I expected you to land maybe if not in gluten-free bread like in smartphone, but the Dr. Manhattan, like I like that I got that out of you.
Yeah. Every deck plays
but it's definitely a tricky one.
deck.
I did try, to make it more fair with the Yondu inclusion, but obviously even with that there, like, that's just one hint that is It's not exactly super intuitive to fall into, because just because two cards synergize together doesn't mean that they have to go together, right? As you said. But that's essentially the thing about Baron Zemo. Like, in a vacuum, the card seems good, but the fact that it's occupying spaces does hold it back. There's a lot of very good 3-drops within Marvel Snap, and generally, like, as the card pool expands, there's more value being produced by synergies and such. So you can't just always go with like good stuff, good value, like this card on its own just works. Like, there are decks that can just overcome that by combining a bunch of cards together and just really working on, feeding off of that synergy to get really high points. And ultimately, Baron Zemo just falls a little bit short to be in the meta because of this. But he's not far off by any means. Like, he's a much better card than Yondu is, but he's just not quite there, unfortunately. So he does fall into the gluten-free bread category. And yeah, this one was a very tricky one. So, as much as I would love to kick you when you're down, I'm gonna give you a bit of it's a tough one, but I'm happy I got that dominant hand out though. Now we're in 4-2.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're gonna see if you can end with the same score, which is still an amazing score of a 5-2. Unfortunately for you, the final test may end up being the toughest. Let me present you the last card, the last villain, the other big bad, Thanos.
I know you.
Now, with Thanos, we're gonna look at the inherently most complex card within Marvel Snap, because you need to factor in Thanos, but you also need to factor in.
Oh God. All right, the Infinity
Stones.
Okay.
So Thanos is a 6 energy, 10 power, 6 energy, 10 power card. Starts in your opening hand. This means that it takes up the slot of another card in your opening hand. You understand this, right? Like, it's not an extra card. It's not an extra card in your hand. It's just always starting in your opening hand. Basically, you're always drawing it.
What's the opening hand? How many?
You start with 3 and then you draw your 4th in your turn 1.
Okay.
Yep. And then it shuffles the 6 Infinity Stones into your deck, which means you cannot draw these Infinity Stones within your starting hand, which is 3 cards, but you could draw an Infinity Stone at the very first turn with your first card draw. And then onwards, it's however the shuffling went. So far, so good?
So far, so good. I'm curious what the stones do.
What the stones do. So first of all, we have the Space Stone. The Space Stone, on reveal, draws you a card, and it has an ongoing effect that says nothing can stop you from playing or moving Thanos. To clarify, this does not mean that you can play Thanos in a location with 4 cards already in it. Okay.
Okay.
You still cannot do that. The same thing with Jeff.
Okay.
Right. It's like the Jeff effect.
Okay.
Except Thanos can't move on his own.
Jeff,
all right?
known Thanos alter ego Jeff. Okay.
Yeah. And then we have the Reality Stone, the red one. On reveal, replace this location with a new one. A random one. You shuffle like this location, you place it on a location, and you swap the location for a different one.
Sure.
Completely out of your control. Time Stone, the green one. On reveal, give Thanos -1 cost, and then draw a card.
Okay.
Then the yellow one, the Mind Stone. On reveal, draw 2 stones from your deck. Right? All of these have 1 power, but now we're gonna go into the Soul Stone first. Okay, the orange one. On reveal, draw a card. And then ongoing, Thanos cannot be discarded or destroyed. And then the final one, the purple one, is the Power Stone. The only one who has a different stat line. It is a 1 energy, 3 power card with an ongoing effect that says, if you've played all 6 stones, Thanos has +10 power, regardless of where he is.
Okay.
So he goes from 10 to 20 power.
Okay.
Any questions?
I will have some. I'm flipping through the stones again. Let's see, how many draw cards? Reality Stone doesn't. The Power Stone doesn't. The Power Stone, like, does nothing if you haven't pulled the other stones yet.
Yeah, it does have 3 power.
Yeah, I guess.
Which
yeah,
keep in mind that it is 3 power for 1 energy is pretty decent. Like it's definitely like it's a good number for 1 energy. Keep in mind that 3 of the 6 stones effectively draw. Like 2 of them cycle, 1 of them draw 2 other stones. The others do not.
Is it weird that my first instinct is that this could be bad? Because I'll explain.
Elaborate.
Yeah. You're taking up for sure a spot in your hand on a very expensive play, so it reduces your odds of playing other things you need to play on curve. So that's my first number 1 thing, and you don't have a very big hand, so that's kind of, that seems bad. That this is going to be sitting in your hand from jump. Next, there are a bunch of these cards that basically cycle and give you kind of a future effect when you finally play this thing. But they all have a cost. You're basically, like, even the one that says Thanos costs 1 less, you're still playing all these cards to make Thanos better, so Thanos actually costs more than you think it does. Even after you've played the Time Stone, getting a full-powered Thanos, assuming that all these things come together, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's like over a number of turns, which means, like, my thought process is doing that means you're not playing on rate, you're not playing on curve, you might not be able to play some of the better cards like 4s and 5s when you want to, which means you're falling behind, probably not at 1 location, but at many locations. And I have no question that a full power Thanos will win a location, but you have to win 2 out of 3. That, like, I'm trying to put it together. Like, okay, opponent can't discard it or destroy it, sure. You're spending energy as you go, drawing cards and getting future effects. Replace this location with a new one, doesn't draw a card. When you replace a location with a new one, does all the opponent's stuff stay there?
Yes. You're just swapping out the location.
I'm just making sure it's not like Galactus.
Yeah. No. It's not a 1 energy. I kill everything here. Thankfully.
So then what comes to mind is, are you supposed to play this with Galactus? Just Galactus down to 1 location and have Thanos win it? Is that like the biggest of bad team-ups, that they put together? Is that like your strategy? But I assume Galactus gets changed, has continued to get changed. We talked about it. Maybe that's the deck. I'm just so... It seems flimsy, man. It seems like you put in way too much mana for 1 location, and then you have to win the other one, and you have to play off curve. Now, maybe that's doable. Maybe there's enough cards at the right price that it lets you focus 1 location only with all the rest of your energy for the course of the game until Thanos comes down, and then you get the other one. Maybe that's good enough. It's hard to tell, though. My first instinct is that this is bad. But under the Galactus logic, they wouldn't let Thanos be bad. They can't let Thanos be bad. Thanos, the NPC, impossible, right? It's impossible. Oh, my God. It's impossible. They wouldn't do it. Oh my gosh. It does add another element to these, that these are like iconic characters, right? That there's a lot attached to them outside of, say, a new MTG legend card that nobody's ever heard of, right? Like there's... It does create something. I can't get past it, though. Okay, in Hearthstone, I got something really wrong with a quest card, because it was a similar idea of a quest card where it felt to me like you were losing a spot in your opening hand. It felt to me like you were playing off curve, but the quest turned out to be busted, and I got that wrong. Am I wrong here? Am I wrong? Let me see. Given the other cards I know of, it really feels like this game needs a lot of rates. Oh my gosh. You're right, this is really hard. And again, I feel like there's no way it's a smartphone or gluten-free bread. I feel like it has to be one or the other. And I want to do the same thing I did with Galactus. I want to say it's a Dr. Manhattan because there's no way they would let a Thanos sit there as an NPC. Like how... And I can see how this is basically like guarantee you a location is how it reads, assuming everything goes right and you get through your whole deck and you actually play all the stones. But all you have to do, right, is miss a stone? Oh my gosh. If this card were good, okay, new logic. If this card were good, if this card were Dr. Manhattan, Baron and Yondu would be good because you'd snipe a stone. So... this is an NPC. I see through you, Thanos. The Emperor has no clothes. You're fucking NPC. Okay, this card's bad. This card's bad. I declare it bad.
Correct.
Oh my god. That was
Correct.
terrifying.
I thought I may get you.
I really...
But you nailed it.
God.
Okay, except for the logic at the end was a little bit weird because actually Yondu and Bear Zemo were terrible against Thanos.
Why?
Because they were trying to mill, and Thanos adds 6 cards to your deck.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe not for the win con, but now they can't complete the stones, right? Isn't that good?
I know. Okay, and here are some things that I need to clarify. Okay, this is the current version of the card, and unfortunately, is it an NPC? If you're watching Marvel Snap, you're like, what the NPC? My Thanos wins all that. Timmy, calm down. The best performing deck with Thanos has a 43% win rate. Okay.
Whoa.
It's really okay. But what's funny about this card is that this card used to be a Dr. Manhattan. This card was one of the strongest cards in Marvel Snap history because it was really different. Okay, this card has gone through many different iterations, but before, Thanos did not start in your opening hand. And the Infinity Stones were a lot better. Like the Space Stone would allow you to move a card from your location to another. Right? They would all cycle. They would all draw, pretty much, except for the Power Stone. And the Time Stone allow you to ramp 1 energy, right? The Reality Stone would draw a card on top of what it did. The Soul Stone was completely different because it allowed you to... it had an ongoing effect that gave -1 power to every card in the other side of the same location. So it was like fundamentally a 5-point play for 1 energy. It was amazing. And the Mind Stone is the same, right? The Mind Stone and the Power Stone, the yellow and purple ones are the ones that haven't really changed, right? The thing is, Thanos stopped being good when they tried to make the deck around about Thanos. Because Thanos was strong because of the Infinity Stones. You more often than not, like 90% of the time, you did not want to play Thanos. So you just played him to bulk up your deck and have these low-cost stones that would cycle themselves. And then there's a lot of cards within the pool. If this card was good, I would have been reluctant to like show it to you because you need some knowledge to understand. Like, because there's a lot of cards that synergize with this, and it's a deck that, you know, like Thanos was a deck because of a bunch of the cards that it went with, right? But fundamentally, like, it was just because of the great utility of the stones. And that they will all cycle. And you didn't start with Thanos in your hand. Like, as you said, your logic was sound when, like, starting with Thanos in your hand takes up a slot of a potential early game play that would be useful instead. You have a 6-drop from the get-go. You're going to have that every single game. And that is a big problem in a game. I mean, in any card game, really, but also in a game like Marvel Snap, right? This card has fallen from grace tremendously, but rightfully so, because it used to be so good that they tried to, like, you know, they were against nerfing it for a while because, like, I really enjoyed playing Thanos because it kind of made you play a different game than Marvel Snap than everybody else, right? It's just an inherently more complex card. It's adding all these cards in your hand, and you have to sequence a lot more, you know, and you have to be mindful where you place your stones because your stones do take up space, right? And that is an issue a lot of times. But ultimately, you never really played Thanos for Thanos himself, just for his rocks. Like, you just wanted his glove, man. You just took his glove, you told him to fuck off, and then you play the deck, right?
Just sits in your hand the whole time. That's terrible.
Exactly. Now that the archetype is, yeah, exactly. That's why they changed them. Besides the fact that he was busted, right? They wanted to make the deck more thematic, more about him. And the moment they did that is the moment he sucked. And here we are. that's the tale of Thanos. Obviously, because of I wanted to leave this one for last because it's the most complex card in the game. And there's a lot of information to soak in, and the information regarding the stones is very relevant. Because the stones used to be a lot better than they are now. Now they're more focused on Thanos, right? Before they didn't really. Besides the Power Stone, the other ones had nothing to do with Thanos. And that's a big deal, right? The moment they made the stones more about Thanos, the moment, this whole archetype just went down the gutter. And that's where Thanos is,
Gotcha.
And that's the thing. Yeah, I was thinking maybe he'll get swayed by this notion that, relevant characters have to be good. But now you see, that's not necessarily the case.
Yep, not necessarily the case. And they can change them. That's
and Thanos has had his time to shine.
Yeah.
Thanos has been dominant for a long time, and now now he's an edgy card. Now he's more of the kind of a card that I like, because bad cards that you could potentially try to make good, right?
Yep.
And that's where he fits in here. So you ended up again with a 5-2 showing. I got you with the cow.
Yeah.
I got you with the Zemo.
Yeah.
I got a Dr. Manhattan out of you, which, I'm pretty happy about. But ultimately, another strong showing by the one in best of one. Back at it again. And getting a clean win here because a 5-2 is a win. So, good job. Well done.
Thank you.
This is the last time I'm ever going to praise you. So, savor it.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Villains are my wheelhouse. Give me some wholesome
you
heroes.
proved that today.
I'm probably going to punt.
Yeah. So that's where we're gonna leave it at. We actually, I thought, well, this video is gonna be a lot. I'm gonna go more straight to the point and stuff. We still ended up at 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Dude, it's too easy to talk, baby. It's way too easy to talk.
It's like there's no way around it. It's just these videos are of that nature, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think about the cards. Let me know if there's any card that you don't agree with my rating as well in the comments as well. Let me know if this video was better than the last one. We're putting a lot of work into these. And I'm trying to, make them better. I know the first one had some slip-ups, but I think this time around, the ordering and stuff was a little bit more fair, I'm just going to say. And yeah, thank you for coming by, CGB. Hopefully I'll get to have you back again for some more Snap rating. And we're also going to be doing something on your channel, too. So that's going to be fun.
Yep, come check it out.
And yeah, so check CGB out. His link will be in the description down below. Thank you for watching. Have a solid day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.